LJN was a toy company that ran from 1967 through 1994. In 1985, LJN produced one of their best performing lines, and that was the WWF Wrestling Superstars. Starting with the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. Here's the other big guy, Big John Studd. Hulk Hogan's WrestleMania 3 tag team partner, Hillbilly Jim, with a hat accessory. And here's Hulk Hogan himself with the champion belt. Here's the most hateable villain around, the Iron Sheik. And JYD, the Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog had 3 variants. Though the figure was identical on each one, the chains were different. This first one here has a gray chain. Another one was released with a black chain. And lastly, the red chain. One of my all-time favorite wrestlers, Rowdy Roddy Piper, with his kilt and his iconic Hot Rod shirt. A prototype of the Roddy Piper figure was shown in a toy catalog back in the day, and we see that he here has black boots instead of red, but most noticeably he has his Panther shirt instead of the Hot Rod one. The Panther shirt version was never released. But when I ended up with an extra Roddy Piper, my dad and I made this awesome Panther shirt custom. And here is Superfly Jimmy Snuka with his leopard print pants. Snuka was originally going to be in his iconic Superfly stance, but was for some reason later changed. And the Iron Sheik's partner in crime, Nikolai Volkov. He also included a hat accessory. Now let's move on to Series 2. And believe it or not, this early in the line we already got another version of Andre the Giant. As you can see, this figure represents his short hair look and overall just looks more like Andre than the original, but this one is a tad bit shorter in real life, but it still looks a lot better. And here is Brutus Beefcake, and no, not Brutus the Barber Beefcake, it was before that mess, this was just Brutus Beefcake. And to round out the dream team, here we have Greg the Hammer Valentine. Here's Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff with really, really tight abs. Come on, LJN. And here's one of my favorites, George the Animal Steel with his green tongue, of course, and then his body hair. Not only was George Steele originally going to be in an alternate pose, but his body hair would have been painted on, and there are a few pictures of those prototypes. Including this one, where he looks like he had just bathed in manure. And lastly, from Series 2, we have King Kong Bundy.
Hey, let's do this!
Dad? What the hell, man?
I've been watching wrestling. I love Ding Dong Randy.
It's King Kong Bundy.
Series 3 was the beginning of the inclusion of managers, starting with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Captain Lou Albano, aka Cyndi Lauper's dad, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart with his little megaphone. There's also kind of a dumb variant where the megaphone doesn't have hearts on it. And of course you gotta have him, Mean Gene Okerlund with his microphone. Originally, Mean Gene was intended to be in a totally different pose. And here is classy Freddie Blassie with his cane, and I'm just enough of a grump to complain about this. I really don't like the red and yellow. LJN actually gifted Freddie Blassie this prototype figure with a black glittery jacket, and I definitely like this one much better. And an amazing wrestler, commentator, and governor of Minnesota, Jesse the Body Ventura. We also get both of the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. Here's an oldie but a goodie, Bruno Sammartino. And one of the more obscure wrestlers, Corporal Kirchner. Corporal Kirchner actually has a really rare bearded variant. Here's the magnificent Don Morocco. And oh yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage. And of course after him is his arch nemesis, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. The prototype Ricky Steamboat showed him wearing red pants, but they were later changed to black. Another fairly obscure wrestler, here we have Special Delivery Jones. He probably has the most notable variant. The original had a yellow tropical shirt, but there was also one of him wearing a red shirt. Here is Terry Funk, who not only comes with his cowboy hat, but also a branding iron. Here's the flying burrito himself, Tito Santana, who was originally going to be in a much different pose. But now let's move on to Series 4, which I think is my favorite series. Alright, yep. This is hands down my favorite figure in the entire series, the adorable Adrian Adonis. Originally, Adrian was supposed to have lipstick and a red and pink scarf, but this was not accepted by LJN. Boy, this is giving me flashbacks to the MASH Klinger figure. Here's a harder one to come by, Billy Jack Haynes with his hat. Roddy Piper's bodyguard, Cowboy Bob Orton, also the father of Randy Orton, and he also includes his cowboy hat. Both members of the Hart Foundation, including Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Funny story with my Jim Neidhart figure, originally he was missing a bunch of fingers, so the original idea was just to put a firecracker in his hand, but no. We decided to just sculpt him some new fingers, and up close it looks a little funny, but from afar they look pretty much perfect, you can't even tell. Here's another one of my favorites, the Ugandan giant Kamala. Originally, Kamala was going to have a way different look, and oh, is that an accessory next to him? Yes, Kamala was going to come with his iconic mask, but LJN decided to cheap out and exclude this from the final product, unfortunately. Next up here is Olympic athlete Ken Patera. The Birdman, Coco Beware with Frankie the Parrot. Hey, here's another manager, Mr. Fuji with his cane. And Macho Man's manager and the only female figure, Miss Elizabeth. There's also an extremely rare variant of her with a purple skirt. And this figure never came out. This was just a goof from the LJN employees. It is a fully naked figure. Yeah, you can look this up because they went into full detail, but here we have Outback Jack, who did, of course, come with his hat. Here is Ted Arcidi, and the former owner of the WWF and WWE, Vince McMahon. And similar to that Freddie Blassie that I showed earlier, this blue outfit Vince McMahon figure was gifted to McMahon himself by LJN. The Killer Bees, B. Brian Blair, and Jumping Jim Brunzell. This guy's just amazing. Jake the Snake Roberts with Damien the Snake, who has a wire in him so you can bend him around. And lastly from Series 4 is the late wrestling icon Harley Race with his purple King of the Ring crown. Series 5 begins with Bam Bam Bigelow. One half of the Demolition Tag Team, here is Axe. The Honky Tonk Man, with his guitar, of course. Two more versions of Hulk Hogan, including this one with a white tank top, and this one with a red tank top. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, with his 2x4. Luscious Johnny Valiant. The One Man Gang. Both Strike Force members, Rick Martel. And Tito Santana again, but now with white trunks instead of purple. Another manager, Slick, with his hat. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And lastly, from Series 5 is the referee, who not only comes in a white shirt and a blue shirt. Alright, now we're on to Series 6, the last one. Series 6 was only released internationally, leading to them being extremely rare. I mean, they're all in the $100 ranges. They're sometimes called the black cards because they came on black cards rather than blue. It included repacks of Adrian Adonis, Brutus Beefcake, Demolition Axe, Big John Studd, Hulk Hogan, the Honky Tonk Man, Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, Randy Savage, and Ted DiBiase. But there were also a few new ones, like the third and final Andre the Giant in his black outfit, Big Boss Man with his baton, King Haku, the Ravishing Rick Rude, the Ultimate Warrior, and finally one half of the Powers of Pain, the Warlord. A Series 7 was announced but never released. It was going to include Smash Demolition, The Barbarian, Bad News Brown, and everybody's favorite red guy, Brother Love. Prototypes are also sculpted for Killer Khan and Sergeant Slaughter. Unfortunately, these were never released. Some newer LJN-inspired AEW figures have also been released, starting with Darby Allin, 2 versions of the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and the Cult of Personality himself, and my personal favorite current wrestler, CM Punk. I would also love to give a special shout out to XOX by Random Treasures on Etsy. They make custom LJN WWF figures that are pretty much perfect. The same type of rubber and paint, they are amazing. From them you can buy Mr. Perfect, Bad News Brown, Razor Ramon, Iron Mike Sharp, Sting, Barry Windham, Typhoon and Earthquake, The Rockers, the Road Warriors, which are just beautiful, The Barbarian, Mr. T, Kerry Von Erich, Zeus, Virgil, Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of my favorites, Crush Demolition, Lex Luger, Jerry the King Lawler, Dr. Death Steve Williams, Polish Power Ivan Putski, Ron Bass, Tully Blanchard, some of my favorites, the Wild Samoans, Bob Backlund, The Undertaker, Paul Bearer, The American Dream Dusty Rhodes, which I own and love, Arn Anderson, Dino Bravo, Psycho Sid Vicious, Brother Love, Bill Goldberg, Brian Pillman, Smash Demolition, Berserker, Abdullah the Butcher, the Bushwhackers, and lastly, Ric Flair. Whew. Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.